Okay, so I'm going to go over some division steps real quick for us since I've had questions about how to divide. All right, so the first thing I tell the kids to do is they have to write their problem. We have 1,453 and we're going to divide it by 5. So they know that we put our divisor on the outside of the house, so to speak. And on the inside, we're going to have 1,000. And because I'm doing this the box method, I have to make sure I space out my place value. So I have 1,000s, I have 4 hundreds, I have 5 tens, and I have 3 ones. All right, now I'm going to go through and I tell them they have to show me their steps and their T-chart. So they have to go over, write a T-chart for our divisor, which is 5. And we write dots if they have to help use them to skip count. And then they label 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And make sure they're not forgetting 0. That's one they keep forgetting. And they're going to have a T for the top of our problem and a B for the bottom of our problem. And then they go over here and we skip count by 5. So we start with 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and 50. And then we have to make our little checklist with the steps to divide. Drive my super cool buggy rapidly. And they know that they're going to do it 1, 2, 3, 4 times for each of the digits in their number, their place value. So we make a little chart just to make sure 1, 2, 3, 4 that we don't forget any steps. So it's thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones. Sorry, it's kind of messy. All right, and so then we start. And I always tell them to ask yourself the first question. How many 5s will fit into 1? And if they don't know, they always go over here and look at their T-chart. And they find 1 on their T-chart. All right, and it fits between 0 and 5. And I tell them 1 is on the bottom of their problem. So they're going to go over here and look at the bottom numbers. And then they box in those numbers so we can take them over here to our problem. And this tells you that 5 will go into 1 0 times. And that's the top number, T for top. And then they go over here. And the bottom number is what is over here on the T-chart, the bottom. And that is 0. So we've just divided 5 into 1. And we've also multiplied. And they have to show me the step. 0 times 5 is 0. So that's multiplication. And we keep going through all these steps until we're done. So our next step is subtract. So we're going to subtract 1 minus 0 is 1. Okay, then we compare. Is 1 less than 5? Yes, it is, meaning that we have divided 5 into 1 perfectly. And then the B is for bring up. We're going to bring up that 1, telling me I had 1 extra 1,000. And I couldn't divide it, so I have to carry it. Now instead of 4 hundreds, I have 14 hundreds. I'm dividing. So now we repeat all of our steps again with division. So again, you ask yourself, how many times will 5 go into 14? You look over here on your T-chart for 14. Draw your arrow. Box up those numbers. And I remind them again, you never box down your leftovers at a restaurant. You box them up and take them home. So we are boxing up our numbers and we're taking them over here to our problem. And so they shows them right now that 5 will go into 14 2 times without having enough. All right, and so we go over here, we repeat it, and we divide, and now we multiply. 2 times 5 is 10, and if they want to check themselves, they go over here to make sure that 10 is what they put on the bottom. So we have a 2 on the top and the 2 on the bottom. Multiplying correctly, now we subtract. 14 minus 10 is 4. So our subtraction is complete. We compare. Is 4 less than 5? Yes, it is. So we are good to bring up our 4. So now we are dividing 45 tens by 5. So now we repeat all of those steps again. How many times will 5 go into 45? We go back to our T-chart and we look for 45. And it's awesome because it is on there. We don't have to find where it fits between. box up those numbers. We have a 9 on top, which is telling me that 5 will go into 45 9 times. That's multiplication. I'm in our division step, I'm sorry. Now after we divide, we're going to multiply. What is 9 times 5? 45. Subtract, we get 0. Bring it up, do the same steps. We bring up that 0, telling me now that I am going to divide 5 into 3. Now I go over here, repeat all those steps. I look for a 3, and if 3 fits between 0 and 5, I've already boxed up those numbers. 5 will fit into 3 0 times. So now that's my division. I'm going to multiply. 0 times 5 is 0. So I've divided, multiply. Now I subtract. 3 minus 0 is 3. Compare, is 3 less than 5? Yes, it is. I don't have anything else to bring over. I'm done with all that. So we do our favorite step, that big X, to tell us we're done. And this last number goes in our remainder column. So that is our remainder. So they know that those are the 3 left over, and we're going to talk more about remainders on Monday and how to interpret those. But that's the box method. And then the same problem, standard method, will be more familiar with you. I'm going to use this T-chart because I can use this T-chart in steps for this problem still. 5, how many times will 5 go into 1,453? We're going to do our same steps. Divide, multiply, subtract, drive my super cool buggy rapidly. 5 cannot go into 1, so that's 0. Then we multiply. 0 times 5 is 0. Now we're going to subtract. 1 minus 0 is 1. So we've divided, multiplied, subtract. Compare. Is 1 less than 5? Yes, it is. Okay, now we're going to bring down, and this is what most of you are used to. We're going to bring down our 4. So now we are dividing 14, again, 14 hundredths by 5. Now we're going to repeat our problem. How many times will 5 go into 14? And if they're confused again, they can go back to their T-chart, look for 14, box up. Our T-chart shows us that it goes in 2 times. That's our division step. Now we're going to multiply. 2 times 5 is 10. Check in the box. 2 on the top, 10 on the bottom. We've done great. Now you subtract. 14 minus 10 is 4. Compare, is 4 less than 5? Yes, it is. So now we are able to move down to our next step is B for bring down. We're going to bring down our 5. Now we're working with 45 tens, and we're going to divide that by 5. That is our repeat step. So now we're going to do all of those steps over again. You're going to look at 45. Where is 45 on our T-chart? Box it up. It tells me that 9 should go on top, telling me that 5 will go into 45 9 times. Now we're going to multiply. 9 times 5 is 45. Okay, is there 45 on the bottom? Yes, there is. Now we're going to subtract. 45 minus 45 is 0. Compare, is 0 less than 5? Yes, it is. Bring down. So now I'm going to repeat all of these steps one more time. I'm going to look for 3 on my T-chart. We're going to box it up. I have a 0 on top and a 0 on bottom. That tells me 5. We have to do that. 5 will go into 3 0 times. That's my division step. And then I multiply. 0 times 5 is 0. Multiply. I have a 0 on top and a 0 on bottom. 0 on top, 0 on bottom. Now I subtract. 3 minus a 0 is 3. I compare. Is there anything, is it 3 less than 5? Yes. And then I bring down. Do I have anything left to bring down? I do not. So then again, we get to do our favorite step, put a big X, tell us that we're almost done. And that number, a lot of them forget what to do with that number. That number can go right here, telling us that this is now our remainder. All right, and I also want them to bring it up here and show me that this is the remainder up here. So the answer is going to be, the quotient is 290 remainder 1. I'm sorry, remainder 3. And And that's the same answer that we got over here, 290 remainder 3. So it's the box method, the standard method, the same exact steps. They're just kind of spread out differently on the box methods for some kids that need to keep better track of their steps. Hope this helps. Please let me know if you need any further guidance or instructions or anything. Thank you.